Hello and welcome back to the Curious Life podcast, Pop Therapy edition. Ooh. Thrilled to have the OG of the pop therapy realm, my favorite PR maven, legend, entrepreneur, queen of all things, Heidi Anderson. So happy to have you back, Hides.
Thank you. Have I even been on the podcast since you've been doing pop therapy, or was it when we were always doing it on social media?
Well, that's a good question.
I think
was
you're
it all on social?
Terry on this therapy session today.
Oh my God. Well, we started this idea together. You and I were doing, if you haven't been following us on social media, Heidi and I, where have you been? But Heidi and I were doing the Bravo analysts at first. Then it kind of morphed into pop therapy. And we were trying to do every couple of weeks, maybe, we were doing lives, doing exactly this and unpacking the madness and the human behavior behind all of the shows that we obsessively watch as our escape from this world. For people, they will have heard the intro about you and your background already up front, but to give people a little bit of a snapshot, if they're just coming into the world of Heidi Anderson, how did you get into, and I know there's so much we could go into, but just very quickly, how did you come to this world of reality TV, finding this place of heaven that I find myself into? Where did it all start for you?
Where did I start? I mean, I was Big Brother obsessed as a teenager and was obsessed with Sarah Marie. It was the first time I saw someone on TV that I thought looked like me, and she was the bigger girl and she got famous for the bum dance. And so then I got obsessed with Big Brother. Then I auditioned for a Big Brother so many years in my 20s and then finally went into the house at 29. So I'm a reality TV person. And then I think I've just always enjoyed it. I remember when Below Deck started, I never got into the Housewives straight away. I think for a lot of people, like yourself, you were OC obsessed and from the beginning. Whereas for me, I think I only came into the Housewives maybe the last 8 years. And I think it was New York or something, Bethany Frankel. And, and then I got to interview because I was a breakfast radio host for 10 years in, the Hit Network here in Australia. And so I got to interview some of these, and I would push always to get these reality stars from the US. And then some mad motherfucker introduced Hey You to Australia, which I'm so grateful for. And so thank you for coming to Australia, Hey You. And after that, the rest is history. I'm obsessed. And I think like you're a therapist, and I actually got into study psychology when I was 18 and didn't go down that path, but I was upset. I'm always obsessed with human behavior. And so that's kind of how you and I started to get onto this path together.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank God we did, because my life is so much brighter and shinier with you in it.
Oh, thank you. Same. And I love that, you'll hear the conversations between us is I'm probably the more diplomatic one, believe it or not.
Yes, it's true, actually. I try to, I like to think of myself as like holding back on my opinions, and then I hear myself go, particularly with there are certain people in the Bravo world that just really yank my chain, and I just can't let it go. And Tamra Judge is one of them.
Oh, yes. Okay, well, we're going to get to that, aren't we? We're going to talk about
We will. But we thought we would open up today just on the back of Real Housewives of Miami. Reunion Part 1 came out this week. Wowza. There was a lot there. We ended with a bombshell, quote unquote. I mean, do we want to start with the bombshell?
Yeah, so for those who haven't watched it, then stay off social media and press fast forward for this part. But do you want to say it?
Well, so Julia decided to let everybody know that the context, in her opinion, behind her and Adriana's falling out was that they had hooked up in the Hamptons, and I think she said to Andy afterwards that actually they'd hooked up a few more times after that as well. And now the Hamptons was a cast trip, And it was during probably their first season. Maybe it's the return of Miami, which was technically season 4, but it was Julia's first season and the first season of this new iteration of Miami. She was very much married, and I think Martina may have had cancer.
I have so many thoughts.
Okay, let's hear them.
Well, and this is the thing. So, okay, and obviously I've been analyzing the comments of many pages on social media afterwards. I've been down many Reddit holes because from the start of this season, I really didn't like how Julia was behaving. And I agree that I was like, oh, now she's with the cool girls. But I don't even like that I call Alexia and Maricel the cool girls. But somehow that's kind of what feels like has happened. Yeah. And so I started going down Reddit holes ages ago and seeing what people kind of feel and think about them. Whether it's influenced me or not, I don't know. Because I never was a massive fan of Adriana before. And for some reason, I started to like Adriana this season, and I cannot stand the way that Julia behaves. Now, if we look back at how she's always kissing other people. She was told that she was kissing that guy last season. You know, she was spotted kissing that guy last season. And someone made a comment. She's never kissing Martina.
That is such a good point.
The sexual chemistry that she has. Yeah. I mean, that could just be her fun, flirtatious personality outside. But I'm like, we've never seen that with Martina.
Yep.
It's very serious and very, but I don't know. Do they have an open relationship? Is Martina part of this? Like, what's your thoughts on that? That's where I started. And the photos the photos that people are analyzing of Adriana, sorry, before you answer online, is that she does look guilty when people are like, and there was a glimpse but I also thought it could just be shock. Like, are you fucking serious? Is this what you're saying? But then it doesn't surprise me with Adriana from her past behaviors on the show.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think there's a few things here. I think the idea of Marisol and Alexia being the cool girls comes from just Adriana and Julia kind of being on the outer from the beginning. Like Adriana was on from the very beginning, and she and those two girls have not been friends. You know, Marisol particularly has had it out for Adriana, and they've been at each other's throats the whole time. So Julia came in as Adriana's friend, and naturally they sat on the outside. And from the beginning, Julia was just doing too much. She was getting wasted and dry humping everyone. And like she's sort of doing this like lesbian shtick. It was like it reminded me of being in my 20s and like pashing girls in clubs and like thinking the boys would think it's hot, you know, that it's not actually because any of the girls actually wanted to hook up. It was just like, you know, kind of like, oh, we think we're being really sexy and, you know, fun. And it kind of came across like that. It didn't feel like she actually wanted to make out with any of these people. She just thought she was being sexy and cool. And it just felt really like not cool. And a lot of the girls did seem to be a bit uncomfortable with it. She was almost like trying to force herself into closeness with people coming from the outside, and she was so different to all of them. She was the girl on the farm with the goats. That's how we would sort of sold her in the beginning. She was just, you know, Julia from Russia with my goats, and come to look at my goats. I bring you some eggs for housewarming present, you know, and like that was it. And everyone else was really money and glitz and glam and Miami, and she was so not that. And, you know, it just, and then, so she came back this season and it just felt angry. It felt, like she was suddenly too cool, but I didn't feel like she was a quote unquote cool girl. I wasn't looking at her aspirationally thinking, oh my God, she's awesome. And look how she's friends with these other two now. I think it's a friendship of convenience. I think Adriana and Alexia have brought her in to malign Adriana. Like, we're besties with her now, you know, when you're not in, but she is.
Yes. It felt, and I think for me from the get-go is that when she announced that she was having getting these two little boys that they were adopting, she didn't tell Adriana who's her best friend separately.
Yeah.
That to me was like, of course I would be pissed off. And I thought Adriana took it quite well on
Yeah.
camera. I don't know if she did outside of camera, but
Yeah.
I would have been fucking devastated. No, and then I start to think, well, how did the girls, is that what she did to the girls? Like get them on a Zoom call and tell her daughters, maybe that's why they're feeling like they're not a part of it.
Yeah.
So that to me was all red flags from the get-go. That start of the season, I was like, she's just not, something's not right here. Like something's not fitting like in the, I don't know, kindness, empathy, thinking of other people, and ego.
Yeah, and her whole attack on Guerdy from the very beginning, who has just literally come out of cancer treatment. She has just come through many, many surgeries, chemo, all of the things. And she was supposedly by her side and supporting her because Martina had just been through it. Yeah. And suddenly she's turned on her, causing her huge stress and ostracizing her from the group. And it just felt like, what is Julia doing? I'm not sure how this is, yeah, it felt really, really ugly from the get-go.
Yeah. For me, the whole Guerdy thing, and look, Guerdy, she's hard, isn't she? She's kind of like a lemon. Sometimes you enjoy the lemon in your drink and it adds this extra nice flavor. And then sometimes you taste the lemon and it's bitter and you're like, oh, like, what are you doing? She's perfect. Her delivery, like, because you can see her kind heart, you can see her trauma, you can see all of these things. And I think that's what's the hard part for her is that she can't, it's her delivery, kind of a little bit like Stephanie. So when she gets in it, it's like, so she does repel people. And because I thought what she did, I was like, oh my God, you go girl, like releasing those text messages. But I was kind of like with the others, release these in, in return of, like a hit back at Julia for the throwing of the drink. When Guerdy did that, I was like, damn girl, like you could have highlighted them a bit more or like made them stand out.
Yeah.
You didn't think about
that. Delivery. Yeah.
Do the best delivery. But then, like I said, her personality, and you can see this in the reunion, she can see that people are telling her that she doesn't listen because she's like, I'm going to listen. I'm not saying, because they're like, are you going to talk? But then as soon as she gets onto it, she's like, and like cuts everyone out. And it's just really, her delivery is triggering. Because there's something about her that I really like. And whether she's got cancer or not, like there's something about, like, do you know what I mean? Because I feel like some people pull out she's been through so much. And I'm like, people can still be assholes and go through something that they're going. Do you know what I mean? Does that sound really harsh?
Well, no, but I just think it felt incongruous because Julia had been her friend and was visiting her in the treatments, and Guerdy had sort of talked about how Julia got it and Martina, had been there and they were there, and out of nowhere she's turned on her because it probably her new friends Alexia and Marisol were not loving Guerdy that much. And so she's trying to keep pace with those girls and turned on Guerdy on something that, no one really fully can follow the story. It sounds like she was annoyed with Guerdy for a ridiculous thing, and Guerdy was, the whole cruise thing with Captain Sandy was just a weird thing. And I don't think it was about the cruise. I think she just didn't want to be friends with Guerdy. But there were so many things that were skated over with Julia this season that were big deals. And you touched on one before, and one was her children not talking to her because of the adoption of these babies. Now, if that had been handled properly or as a family, you would think, they wouldn't be in this situation. But to have your adult children not speaking to you at all once you've had children come into your family, I think says something. There's a lot of
there's something that's like something may have not been handled correctly. And I think you also saw a glimpse of it when Martina was actually talking about how she's protective of Julia.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, I saw a couple of windows where, you know, they've tried, but then also kind of maybe be combative and defensive. But then if they are Julia's kids too, like, do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? How she's
Yeah.
behaving, then they could just be like the same and be like,
Yeah.
well, do you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of what I think, that apple doesn't fall far from the tree sometimes.
Yeah.
In that, but one of them's talking to her now. But what I find uncomfortable about that, and I don't know if this is the protective in me, is they are such young, impressionable girls.
Yeah.
And talking about that on TV, did she get permission for that? Is that going to add another thing?
Yeah.
Was that her story? Like, so that for me, what made me really uncomfortable, because these two teenage girls, like you said, well, adult, they're in their 20s, like they're young, impressionable. Like,
Yeah.
were people then messaging them on Instagram saying, you need to talk to your mum, like blah, 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 all this shit. Like, that to me was like, I want it to be reality, but I also think that children like that should be protected.
Yes, and speaking of that, I felt sick seeing those little boys brand newly adopted from God knows what kind of trauma background, from a different cultural background, suddenly being blasted all over the world on this show. I felt sick. I felt absolutely sick. They should not have been put on TV.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think for some people, like naively like me, I, you know, coming from breakfast radio, I shared my son. Well, but I didn't have him when I was on the radio. I was pregnant. But I think as a radio host, we just used to share stories and no one would ever see their faces or anything like that. Then coming into the Instagram world, just quite naively, I think you just start to share your life because that's what I'd done before. And now, a few years in, I don't share his face on social media anymore. And I know why and, you know, the things. But do you want to talk a little bit into that, like why that made you
Yeah.
feel a bit sick?
Well, you know, I know you had an experience and you've
Yeah.
talked about this before of a stranger approaching your son and knowing who he was.
Yeah.
And that is, you know, on such a small scale
Yeah.
compared
I've
to
got
what can
50,000
happen.
followers on Instagram.
Yeah,
And
but
you guys have got like
yeah,
millions and millions. Yeah.
but I just meant, no, it's a small scale interaction, as
Mm,
in, you know, that was a pretty innocent one where a stranger
yeah.
has just said,
Yeah.
oh, you Memphis.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not, you know, there was no harm intended there. But
Mm-hmm.
what we do know is that children whose images are used online, particularly those of famous people, can be accessed by every kind of creep and pedo and horrible dark web dwelling person with bad intentions. And it's not just a question of like they could be using their images. All of these experts in child safety and in, you know, police fields, they have all said that there is no doubt whatsoever that images of young people that are put on social media are being used. Now with AI, they can manipulate these photos to turn them into sex abuse
Oh,
material. And, you know, that's one part of it. The other part of it is it compromises their physical safety, which is what
mm,
you experienced, which
yeah.
is you can be very quickly found. You know, we can work out where people live very quickly. People post photos of their children wearing school uniforms on Instagram, and
Yeah.
I'm friendly with, you know, some influencers here in Melbourne who are doing things like that all the time, using their kids every single day
Yeah.
to sell products and in their school uniforms or
Yeah.
out the front of their house or in
Yeah.
their local cafes, and everything's completely identifiable. You know
Yeah.
exactly which pocket of Melbourne they live in, you know exactly where you could find those kids at any given time. So we magnify that by a billion, and we
Mm,
have the, you know, Real Housewives viewership of literally millions and millions and millions of people around the world. It is all over mainstream and social media. And to have, you know, if we take out the bad intentions of bad people,
mm,
even just the vulnerability of these little people that are trying to adjust to a new life with their 70-year-old new mother
Yeah.
and 55-year-old new mother. We don't know
Yeah.
where they've come from. We don't know why they have been adopted. We
Mhm.
don't know anything about their background. And they absolutely, unequivocally cannot consent to having their images used online, on TV, in any
Yeah.
capacity whatsoever. And I also think they were so newly adopted. This isn't years later where there could be a little bit more anonymous. There is a
Mm.
family out there in the world that knows who these children are and
Yeah.
have recently relinquished them in some form. The baby was 18 months old, I think, the little
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
And I know they've either lost or given up their rights, but that would be extremely confronting for that family as well, to
Yeah.
watch their former children being used as storylines in the Real Housewives of Miami. And I just thought on every level it felt wrong and it felt gross. And if we want to look at Martina and Julia doing this in an altruistic way, like this is actually a wonderful thing and potentially it could be, you
Mm.
know, the best thing that ever happens to these kids. From what I hear from friends of mine in the tennis world, Martina is apparently a very lovely person and
You
so
see that?
highly respected in
Yeah.
the tennis world. And so, you know, is it amazing? Potentially. But we don't need to see that. It looks bad and it's being done wrong. And those kids should not be on TV.
Yeah, and my question for you though is what, because you know this whole season as well was about like raising awareness around adopting kids and that. How did the adoption agency allow that? That was my
Yeah,
thing. It was kind of like
totally.
did, because I can understand, yes, be a part of it and could have had photos with the kids, like back to them. Like
Yep,
I've worked out how to share my son now in different
totally.
ways so that
Yep,
I can, it still feels authentic and I can still got a part of me that I share. But it's like these are all the things that I know now. And, you know,
yep.
I just think they could have just, how did they let it get across the line?
Well, that's right. And maybe, you know, was it something because we sort of started off not seeing and they started off,
Mm.
Julia saying, you know, we're not going to show them. And then suddenly the next
They
couple of
like, oh, we're
weeks,
ready now.
there
And
they
I'm like,
are.
3 weeks
Yeah.
later, like I think
Yeah.
it took them a few years. Like I
Yeah.
understand if that's their life and they want them to understand that this is their life. However, like you said, they don't have to show their faces or they don't
No.
have to like, you know, yeah, there's just a
Yeah.
lot to it. And I think that's where it was like just showed parts of Julia that she is not very emotionally considerate
Mm-hmm.
or you know, through her behaviors. I think maybe that's what was really shone through. I think it
Yeah.
was just so disturbing to see this person who was so, she proposed to Adriana on TV.
Yes.
She did all of these things, you know, stood up for her, yelled at Marissa, like all of these things. And we know people evolve, people change, situations happen. We know that. It just felt very like, whoa, where did this person come from? So was she this woman all along?
Mm-hmm.
But she was always, I don't know, keeping herself back a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Adriana said it really well, and I'm going to mangle the quote, but it was to the effect of, you know, I don't think Julia knows who she
Herself.
is. And she spends all of her time chasing the next shiny thing
Mhm.
and sort of changing herself for whoever those people are,
Yeah.
and this is just the next thing that she's done. And I completely agree. She shape
Yeah.
shifted to be Adriana's best friend and suddenly going from goat person to reality TV person.
Yeah.
And now she's shape shifted again. We don't hear anything about the farm. We haven't seen her in
Yeah.
overalls once this season.
No, I
Not
know. I'm like,
once.
give us the, I think they went out there one day with the kids and they went to
Oh,
the,
yeah, that's right. That might have been when they first
they first
uncovered the
interviewed.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I have a friend who is very much like that, and it is, she's a chameleon, and so we call her like the, and she's such a kind person, but she was bullied in high school, and she grew
Mm.
up in Europe. I won't give her identity
Yeah.
away, and she grew up in Europe, and so I can see parts of how she goes into, and she can only really have one friend. That's her thing. And she doesn't mean to, but like in our group's quite big of like 12 girls. We've all been friends for years and years and years. And she's just kind of come in. She's been around for 20 years now, but like you can see she can't have us all at once. It's only one at a time. And there's parts of me sometimes that I see with Julia that I go, is it that she can't have that? She's got to just be, and so it's like Alexia and Maricel, you know, one of those, and then she just can't do it, and it's something to do with her past, because I see such similarities. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just, I get this sort of, you know, there's this vibe about her that's it's a bit desperate, you know. Even, you know, we had Steph. Yes, she just wants to be liked. And she, you know, we would see her when they were in Seville, for example, and they'd all been talking about Alexia, and Alexia walks in, and before Alexia's even taken like her first step into the room, she's, you know, thinking she's being a good friend or thinking she's being cool, and I'm on the inside. I get to
with that.
Yeah. So it's things like that that just come across. I don't know. It's
and then she straight shoots shot Stephanie on the bus the next day, saying, well, sometimes they think you're bossy. And so she straight shoots. But then there's also this other side that then's like, oh, but they're allowed to do this, and their cunty behavior is okay.
Yes.
Like, so that's why I think if you were in that group with her, you would kind of be feeling like, okay, kind of like at a tennis match with Martina, like, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Which one are you today? Are you sticking up? Like, you know what I mean? She just seems a bit flip-floppy. That's what's probably the word.
And you know what? I think you've nailed that, because every other one of the girls is so solid with who they are. We know exactly what we're going to get with Larsa. We know exactly what we're going to get with Lisa. We know exactly what we're getting with Alexia and with Marisol. And, you know, Julia's and even Stephanie's come in, and she is so clearly herself.
Yeah.
Maybe not likable, but it's the same Stephanie in every single scene. She's not afraid of anyone, and she's going hard every single interaction she's in. But Julia, it feels loose, and it feels unformed, and it feels unpredictable. And I think they showed us footage. Now I don't know why this was not shown.
Right? I don't understand.
Insane. So if you haven't watched the reunion, there's a scene where from last year or the year before, 2023, and Julia has got a chair in a restaurant. They're having an event, and she's slamming it violently and repetitively into the ground and screaming and screaming and screaming. And everyone is just like sitting there in shock and horror. And as Adriana said, this is at least 3 times where she has been volatile. And we're talking like, you know, Jersey level physical insanity, you know, literally flipping tables, throwing drinks. And I didn't like that all the girls immediately started saying, oh, it's happened to her, and you didn't say anything, because nobody got it like Guerdy got it. Other people might have had a drink in their direction, but Guerdy was soaked from head to toe with that glass of water, and really they just don't like her, and that's why they didn't defend her at the time. That's all.
And for me, that was like a real True Colors moment. I think what I found this noticeable in the last few seasons of Salt Lake City, which obviously we need to talk about too.
Yes.
Housewives of OC, like all of them, they're all bringing back this unseen footage at the moment. And I'm like, is this a new way that they're producing? So they carry a certain storyline, and then they're like, bang, at the end. Are they watching what people are saying online? I don't know. Is it really manipulative? Like, do they know? Because for me, I'm like, you knew you had that fucking footage. Like, were you waiting for the next time she did that? Like, so that then you could build this character, like part of her character. I don't know. It seems, because I'm like, that is a big thing that they should
massive.
I actually table flipping of fucking Teresa, would they? Like, that's kind of she was like bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, totally. It was exactly a Teresa moment. as chaotic and out of control as Teresa Giudice has been on many occasions.
Yeah.
But I think I read, maybe it was a Reddit thread somewhere as well. But I think I read something about maybe they were protecting her because she was trying to adopt, and maybe she had said to them, please, you cannot show that footage because I'm trying to adopt and I'm working on myself. And
makes sense.
But then you worry, like, now she's got these kids and she's shown a pattern of behavior where she loses her mind and she gets triggered, and nobody triggers you more than kids.
Yeah.
You're not even the Real Housewives. The kids trigger you 10 times more than that. So is she going to be throwing chairs and water and glasses at their heads in coming weeks and months?
This is how we behaved when we were 20. Like when someone triggered you like that for me is like it's my 20-year-old self. Like I can't say I'm innocent and that I haven't behaved that way. I haven't screamed at my kids. But I think for her, it's like she's in her 50s and she has, like you said, got 3 kids. She's been, I don't know how, I guess the engaged 9 times thing, like we're all judging her for that too. Like what's that? How do you feel about that? Should we be judging her? Because like there's so many things that I feel like we could do a whole episode on fucking Julia.
Totally. But like, totally. And somebody needs to.
There's behaviors that it's kind of like, oh.
Yeah. And then she's also got this horrifically tragic story of her ex-husband being murdered and her baby son being shaken to death by their nanny.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. So you forget the trauma. Yeah. Don't you get so caught up in her reactive behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe the world's forgotten about that. She shared that.
But I don't think we also got the whole story there. We sort of got a little summary. I'm not sure we really got the full picture.
That is so fucked up. And I remember her and Guerdy shared that moment. Oh yeah, I forgot. But so that might be why she is so reactive. But like again, we've talked about this evolving as a person and the work that you do. She would have had to have done a lot of work to get these children. Oh my God, there's so many question marks on everything.
Well,
I literally
if she'd
adoption agency, question mark on Julia.
Yeah.
Like, are her stories true, real, like too?
Yeah. Yeah. And there are a lot of people online saying, and I don't know the American system. I've only read what everyone else has read, but they say that adopting children in America is almost impossible, and it can take years and years and years and years and years. So how did and they certainly wouldn't be giving them. They reject people over 40 because they don't think that's in the.
Did Martina pay the agency and say we're going to fund the agency for the next how many years? Do you think something like that?
Well, I mean, you have to wonder about something like that happening, or was it a dodgy, because there are also dodgy agencies that are getting kids
like
unethically. And so you just don't know.
That's so sucks, isn't it? Like these poor little kids used in this shit. But like this is where it's like, this is why I love Housewives. And so that sounds really tragic for all these serious things that we're seeing, but because it is my escape from the world that is so fucked up of these. This is why I don't want to watch the news, because I don't want to read about trafficking. I don't want to hear about all of these things, war, like because hurting kids, killing kids, all of this stuff. That's why I watch Housewives. So I don't watch serious shit. Go back to the chaos of like just the crazy friendships or something.
Yes. Well, that's right.
Yeah. It's funny. It's because Griffo said to me this morning when I was doing this podcast, this is hubby, and he goes, I just don't know how you watch it. It is so fucking chaotic. And I'm like, I know, but it's so healing for me.
It's just so good. It's so good. But, it's got to be the right kind of chaos. Just like you're saying, it can't be anything. Like I feel like OC, I'm avoiding every week. I'm like,
you not watched it.
I mean, I'm watching it, but it's like the last thing. Sometimes I let it go for a few weeks, and just the clips online are too much.
Every week, same time, Housewives of Miami, then I watch OC, then I watch the after shows, then I watch Andy's Watch What Happens Live. And I'm like, okay.
I love it.
into my week. And then obviously I
Yes.
was Salt Lake City. But before our ADHD, ADD brains, squirrel brains go to the other shows,
Yes.
what should we wrap up with Housewives of Miami? Because like I said, this whole episode could just be on Julia and her behavior and all
Yeah.
that jazz and the things that have happened. Alexia, Marisol, Guerdy, Stephanie, and Kiki. Who else? Like, could we just sum them, like what we thought of them? Maybe like this season and like their storylines, like quite, simply. So then we can move on to debrief the others and judge the others.
Absolutely. I feel like it was nice for me to get more of Kiki this season. I liked seeing more of her story.
Because she's funny. She's funny.
Yeah.
And then but seeing the realness, like that, he doesn't look like her dad. He looks like her boyfriend. He's so young. He looks so young.
Yes.
But I think him seeing her and celebrating her in that moment, and then her having those moments of vulnerability and her sharing her children, like maybe her older children. Did she share? She shared her younger children. I liked that she shared her older children, like going to uni and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was. I like seeing her personality, but she has been caught in a bit of online crazy because she's not been sticking up for Guerdy, which that's something I'll never understand. But so I think we're going to see more of that, aren't we, in the next?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I feel like is she a full-time housewife this year?
No. Well, see, I didn't
she's still
notice
not.
that Adriana was like the holder of the first, and now so that. Because
no one understands why Adriana was demoted, because she was always strong. She was always really strong. She always had like crazy love life stuff going on. In the first, the first iteration of Miami, she was strongly featured, and she had this French husband and her son, and then we had the time of her being single and dating different men, and but she was always super intelligent, really interesting, always into lots of cultural things, and
she's weird and wacky, which I think sometimes she does, like when she wrote to Marisol's letter, like liver and stuff like that. But to me, that's TV. Like she's showing her quirky, crazy, weird side.
Yeah.
Make a TV moment. Like sometimes I'm like, she's smart. So what do you think's going to happen with her? And then, like I said, because I forgot about Lisa and Lisa too. Fuck.
Lisa was just a bit of a non-event. I mean, I actually found all of Lisa's episode or scenes to be quite laborious. I think the first couple of seasons back, when she had Lenny had the hot mic moment, and that was just unfolding in real time, the marriage breakdown. That was like, whoa, totally hooked on that. That was insane to have the inside view as that was all going down. And now this season, it has felt like we've just seen her full self-obsession, just, roaring gloriously. And it was just a bit boring for me. I'm not sure. I feel like her boyfriend is weird. I do not get, honestly, the relationship.
Something about him I can't put my finger on. I can see the kindness in him. There's something I see the kindness in him. But you can tell he's grated by her he's like, are you going to, there was a scene of them and he's like, are you going to actually listen? And she's like, oh yeah, sorry. And like, I know she's come out and talked about how she's got ADHD and, so she shows those signs. If you want to look at it, if you want to look it up on paper, it'll say Lisa's name. So I can imagine that would be quite frustrating for him if he's not like that. And I think he seems like he's got some brains. He's like, if we're going to do this together, then let's make money from it. Like they've just released an app and stuff like that. To me, I go, smart, do that.
Yeah.
There's just something I agree that I can't. And I don't know if it's because he's so nice that he just doesn't understand it, or there's a little bit of dodginess.
I know. I can't work it out either. There's just that. I really liked when he said to her, before we're even considering getting engaged, you need to go and do some work on yourself, because I can't live with this level of chaos. And I think it was probably partly the ADHD stuff, but I think also she's in drama all the time.
That follows her everywhere.
And so I thought that was good. I didn't quite believe her that she's getting a lot out of therapy. Like she
Yeah.
said, there was zero signs of growth or
There-
evolution at that point. And, maybe she's working on it now, but it didn't seem like that was really
Her.
happening.
Yeah.
But, I like that from Jodie, but I just, there's something a bit.
It's just something. Okay, so
Mm,
Jodie Larsa, what I just cannot like that woman. And
oh, yeah.
she's so unemotional. Is it because she's been with a basketballer for so long that, kind of men, they can be quite direct, like Bronwyn on Salt Lake City with her
Mm-hmm.
husband. He's very, he got pulled up for her. But is that just what Larsa's lived with? Is it's like when you're quite abrasive, you're quite direct. If you're an athlete, you've got like, do you know what I mean? All these boundaries and you just speak a certain way because you've got to get shit done. I don't know. Is that why she's like the way that she is?
I feel like it's partly because genuinely there's almost no part of her face that can move at all.
She's just,
It's just alarming how different her face looks to when she started this show. Completely different person.
yeah.
But I do think as well that she just sees herself as a huge star. And she's the
Mm,
star of her world wherever she goes, and she doesn't have to waste time on anything she doesn't want to. And so if you're saying something that she doesn't agree with, that's fine. I'm going to tell you and I'm moving on. She's not interested in really salvaging relationships in that sort of deep,
yeah.
genuine way. I think she kept having those meetings with Lisa, but I got zero sense of real connection and
Yeah.
intimacy between them. It was just like, on paper we've been a team on this
Yeah.
show all this time.
Yeah.
So, are we going to go back to that or what? But
Yeah.
I also didn't understand why Lisa didn't unfollow Marcus Jordan. I mean, that is weird. Why would you keep following the
When you know
ex?
that it's causing your friend
Yes.
pain, and and
Yeah.
then it's kind of like that stubbornness in Lisa of just being like, was she trying to have a moment? Was she, it was
Yeah.
kind of like you could have just made this go away.
Yeah. And
Like,
15
but
fights
then does
ago.
she really like? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I do think sometimes Larsa behaves. So Kim Kardashian, if you watch the Kardashians, she's extremely funny in the way that like she would do that to her sisters when Lisa was walking through the catwalk, and then you know how Larsa put her phone up and was taking photos
Yeah.
of her. Kim Kardashian would do that and that would be funny because
Mm,
there's something about Kim Kardashian and her sense of humor. Now they used to be really good friends. Apparently they don't
mm,
talk anymore. I don't know what happened there. But there are very similarities that I feel like sometimes
yeah.
she tries to be the Kim K of
Yeah.
the show, but she doesn't have the comedic timing and she doesn't
Yeah.
have the comedic warmth that Kim has. Like Kim
Yeah.
is so egotistical. She could do anything she wants in the whole wide world. She's obviously very fucking talented. And, you know, I think Larsa thinks she's like that, and it's like, no, no,
Yeah.
no, no. You don't show those same capabilities, my
Yeah.
girl. Like, but do you think that sometimes?
Yeah, I think you've nailed that, and I think she went away to go and be in Kardashian land,
Mm.
and that's what the girls had a big problem with at the reboot of this version of Miami. That like you don't even go here, like now
Yeah,
you're like back in
yeah,
Miami, you know.
yeah,
Um, And now that Kim's not talking to you, now we're good enough for you. So,
yeah,
okay, we didn't hear from you at all the whole time you're in LA being Kim's bestie.
yeah,
So, yeah, it is definitely like she thinks she's the Kim of
yeah,
Miami, for
yeah,
sure. For
yeah.
sure.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so who else do we have to debrief?
Well, what do you think of Stephanie, the new girl?
Type parts I like of her.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yes, you go, girl, especially when she said some things to Maricel. Like she understands people, the behaviors.
Mm,
But again, like it just did feel, and not that I don't care that she has money. Like I like, it's like
yeah.
when you, like she said, when you have an NBA ring, you fucking going to show the world. Like she said, I wanted to
Yeah.
be rich, but I think that's triggering for a lot of people. So
Mm,
I like the authenticity in that. There was just times that I wanted more from her, and I don't know what that was. She brought a lot of like rah, like
yeah.
moments. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right. I'm not sure she knows how to be more vulnerable Because even in those little moments where we had some vulnerability about the sisters, I still have absolutely no clue what happened with her sisters.
But even when she was saying on the reunion, she's like, now they kind of, I'm glad that they've seen me this way because now it's not just them. So maybe, and to me, I was just kind of like, I see why her and Lhasa get along. Because that, there's no emotional side of them. It's just very much like direct, abrasive kind of behavior.
Yeah. No, you're right. It makes perfect sense why they're friends. They're actually a very good fit for each other.
Yeah, they are. I'm like, I can see why you're besties for life. But yes, I don't know. I want to see more from her. I think she's a great addition. However, I definitely think there could be more softening in her. And, you know, that's just a lot of work for her to do on herself. What do you think about her and her husband? Are they the real deal, do you think?
I think what she said is that she loves money.
Yeah.
She loves money. So I think she loves her husband because he is money, you know? And so I think it's genuine.
But he seems like maybe because she's that more like rah, rah, rah. He seemed like the more softer one in his age. And they definitely portrayed that with the dogs and everything.
Yeah.
Because he didn't speak to her rudely like how Bronwyn's husband, you know, spoke to her. So, yeah, I did feel like, okay, I want to see more of these two. But I'm cool with people being filthy rich. I'm like, you're showing me what I for me, and like, good fucking on ya. Like, don't make people feel bad about flying your plane for $40,000.
Exactly.
Because you're so fucking rich, you don't care.
Exactly. Have your money, either offer it to everyone or be upfront and say, you know what, guys, I actually can only take 5 of you and I don't like you guys, so I'm just going to take you. That's it. Don't like dangle it like you better be nice to me or else you're not coming on my plane. It just
feels like you're buying friendship.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the thing that Marisol was sort of skating around. She was saying, I think money is tacky to talk about money, but it also was that it felt like she was trying to buy her way in. Yeah. And that just feels a bit gross.
Marisol, how do we feel about her?
Do you know what? I just feel like she is, you know, she has to be there. She has to be there. Marisol is Marisol. You know, Mama Elsa and Marisol were kind of, you know, the linchpins of Miami in the early days. And I think she's just kind of taking over that role of, you know, sitting back. I just want my car key. Bro, what are you doing, bro?
Yeah.
You know, and she's just happy. She's also not full-time.
Yeah.
She's a friend of, weirdly, none of them are actually friends of. They're an even cast, it feels like. But yeah, I feel like she's a necessary evil. I feel like she just has to be there.
Yeah,
you know?
I think I definitely have a love-hate relationship with her as well. She's kind of, I'm like, yes, I love your one-liners. Yes, I love how you perceive things. But then I did find it interesting that her and Alexia are friends. I just can't stand Alexia. And she, to me, is so hard to watch. Probably the hardest, like you feel about Tamra. That's how I feel about Alexia.
Wow. Yeah.
Like she just, even now to Stephanie, it was about Todd. You were right. Well, are you fucking for real? You spent the whole fucking season denying that. Like, we're on, we're off, we're not. Like, and then her ponytail flick. I'm like, fuck, woman, just stop. Like, I could be so happy without her being on the show.
Well, unfortunately, she's the Teresa of Miami, and I don't think she's going anywhere. Although I think we are finally rid of Teresa from the rumors that we're hearing about Jersey. But maybe they'll announce it at BravoCon. But it's sounding like a reboot with potentially Melissa, Margaret, Dolores, maybe one of the new the blonde new one. I've forgotten her name.
Oh, is this why? Yes.
And then a bunch of newbies.
And is this why I've seen online that Teresa wants to now reconcile with Melissa?
Yeah. Because her name has not been floated.
Wow.
Yeah. Please, praise God. She ruined it. She absolutely ruined it.
Yeah, there was some times that I really enjoyed her again when she came out of jail and she was like Zen and she was doing a
Yeah.
yoga and all this stuff and like she was trying to make something of herself. You were like, yeah, go Teresa. And
Yeah.
then now, like,
Back
fucking
to regular programming,
regular
and
programming.
it was not good. It was not good. And it's like there's just, and I know we talked about this, in our lives, so
Yeah.
let's not like beat the dead horse, but watching her was like, you could just feel the exasperation. There was no way, these shows are so often about rupture and repair.
Mm,
People have a falling out and then they repair and we're, back to
yeah.
square one. But there was no ability to do that because she could not have a conversation. She was just not able to be open to any other opinion other than
Mm,
her own. And
yeah.
unfortunately, I think I said this before, but I don't think she's a very high intelligence,
Yeah.
and I think she's got zero emotional intelligence.
Mm,
And so it's just like banging your head against a brick wall, and I
yeah.
I just don't want to watch that anymore.
Yeah,
So
and I think too, there's like for me, I'm kind of like you portray to be this girl, this good Italian girl, and like there's so much about forgiveness in those Italian
yeah,
families, and like in and like so that's why I was kind of like that she needs to find that within her for her own self
yep,
peace,
yep.
like
And what it must be doing to her body to
yeah,
be in that level of stress all the
so much
time.
anger, like
Yeah.
go do some fucking rage rooms and screaming at the beach under the water. Come
Yes.
on, girl. We got the tools for you.
Yes. Yes. Go back to Zen. Namaste.
Stay. Then you
That
might
just,
stay. Namaste on
yes.
Jersey.
Exactly.
Okay, so Miami, do we feel like we've debriefed enough of that? There'll
Yeah.
be
So I think it'll be interesting to see whether it's a 2 or a 3-part reunion, and then whether there are any cast shakeups next
well, they're going to
season.
bring back Adriana and Julia for sure now. Like whether they're
Do you want
guaranteed.
Julia back?
Well, do I want Julia back? I liked this is my thing, and I think I wrote about this the other day. I'm not 100% into canceling people
Mm,
because I feel like when people fuck up, there should be reform, there should be accountability, you should be able to be held, and you should be able to people that are holding you to that go on the journey with you of reforming yourself if you really want to do that and then evolve. So there's a part of me that's like, girl, come on, show the world like that you're not just who we all think you are. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
part of me that's like, oh, I don't want to get her cancelled because I want to
Yeah.
see what Martina has to say. I want to see more. Will Martina
Mm.
come out next week and speak?
No, she's looking after the boys. She wasn't there.
Convenient. And then I also think,
Mm,
is it just a paid marriage? That's what I think sometimes. Like,
mm,
that's what I think. Is it just like, are they just in it because they're lone? Like, Martina was lonely,
yeah,
loves her, she thinks she's beautiful. And then she's like, they have a solid companionship, but then she's like, okay, do whatever you want. I don't know. There's so
yeah,
much in there.
yeah.
So, this is what I
So
mean. You do a whole episode on these guys.
yes, totally. And my friend in the tennis world did tell me that Julia had been in relationships with other tennis players before.
Mm,
So she was potentially climbing her way to the best bag, and maybe that was Martina. That's my thought. That's not from my
yeah.
friend.
Yeah.
Um, and that'll be interesting. Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll hear a bit of that next episode
Yes.
because surely Andy's going to say, "What does Martina think? Does
Yeah.
Martina know?"
Does Martina
Yeah,
know? Like,
yeah,
call her up. Can we get her on the
yeah,
phone, please?
yeah. Is it an open marriage? Is it,
Yeah.
are there some? Pardon?
Do you want Julia back?
Hmm. Good question. Look, I feel like the show could carry very well without her. I think there's
Mm,
enough healthy drama just from the different personalities there and the real friendships that these people have long term with each other. Apart from Julia and Stephanie, the rest
mm.
of them go back 15 years.
Yeah.
And with that, you get a richness of history and, you know, context with each other that makes it really interesting to watch. Unlike some of these newer versions where they've just, cast people and put them in a room together, and it does not have the same depth and, interest for me. So I think there's enough there without Julia. I think I would need to see her eating a lot of crow and doing the work and let us see Julia like 2.0, but genuine transformation of like, you know what? I was trying to be cool and I was trying to be all things to everyone. And now I am trying to, Adriana was right. I don't know who I am. And now I'm spending some time trying to work that out.
Yeah.
Then I'd be like, okay,
yeah.
Well, come on in. Let's check
back.
it out. Yeah.
Come on back to the friendship circle. But
That's
I think
right.
we want to see people win and we want to see the change in people. And I think I was reading something yesterday about how even her apology wasn't really an apology when you watch it. It's and I'm like, yeah, you do notice that with her. So I think she's got a lot to do, like a lot of work to do. So yeah, it'll be interesting how the next 2 episodes unfold. If they do 3. If they do 3.
Yes.
Reunion.
Surely it's got to be a 3-parter. Surely.
Okay, so what else?
All right.
Real Housewives and Salt Lake City, but real quickly, like we're on speed. 2 times, put us on 2 times speed.
Yes.
So yeah, you haven't been watching OC.
I've been watching it, but I'm just not into it. It's just, I'm so done with Tamra. I'm so done with everyone tiptoeing around Tamra and pretending to be friends with Tamra because it's too scary to stand up against Tamra. And Jen Pedranti, I sort of feel like is the closest thing to the most honest person in the room. I feel like Heather's boring. Emily and Gina are fucking boring. I have no interest in learning about either of their lives anymore. I never was. I never thought they were a good fit. Shannon, I find, comic relief. I'm always happy to have Shannon, but also not a killer season for her. I loved her on Love Hotel. I thought that was so good. Yeah. She was a bit crazy, but we expect nothing less. But I just feel like this is like blah. Yeah. What do you think?
So I watched the latest episode. I've been up to date with them. I still can't help watching it. There's a part of me that believes this Katie girl, and then Gretchen coming in, and then when they did the lie detector test, that was like a big part. For me, it did feel very manipulated and not real. And having done lie detectors like this on breakfast radio on our past shows, I know that you can get a proper person who's worked in like the army or whatever, and this guy had done it, but they're not really working in it today. And so they're not like official. Do you know what I mean? So there's a part, and then I'm like, how am I starting to like Tamra in that with the Katie stuff and her? I'm like, there's something in that because I don't trust Gretchen. I don't like her. I think there's her and Slade have, for me, it is a lie. And I can see that. And then Jen, so for me, I'm kind of like, oh, how? And then even I think someone wrote it the other day when Tamara was on Watch What Happens Live, which I feel like Andy feels the same as you about Tamara. Yeah. But when he interviews her, I'm like, does she know that like he doesn't speak to anyone else like this? But it's just his tone with her.
Yeah.
Anyway, a lot of people were saying, how is this that we're starting to like Tamara again because of the way that the cast has all been dishonest and everything? And it's like, well, at least she's reactive. She's outrageous. She's all this shit. But sometimes she's brutally honest.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I said, I feel like I've felt a bit wish-washy with everyone. I kind of like them. And then I'm like, no, you're a fuckhead from that. Then, so for me, it has been a hard season of actually I don't feel aligned to anyone.
No, and there's not even a storyline where it's like, oh, can't wait to see what happens next. It's like, for me, I feel like, oh, all right, fine, keep going. Yeah. What happens next? Yeah. And I've never felt like that about OC before. And it's really just Tamara, I think, creating I just feel like she's incredibly manipulative. She's doing everything for the show. I don't feel like anything is real. Anytime she cries, I'm just like, oh, whatever. She's not really doing any therapy. If she is, it's not working. you
How
know,
the hell does this is one of the Reddit holes I went down. I was like, how is Eddie with Tamra? Like,
oh
because I
God.
wanted to know what other people's opinions were.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, he seems so nice and so
Yeah.
together. And then a lot of people were saying kind of like the sexual attraction with them. And then she is a different person, not on the show compared to who she is off show.
Mm.
Because I was like, surely he would have left by now.
Yeah. Although, maybe he's one of those men that just like is addicted to the drama and
Yeah.
loves that she's a little agent of chaos. And,
He
he sort
doesn't
of,
come across like that though. He's kind of like, let's
no.
shut it down. Like he's
Yeah.
definitely will stick up for her when he needs to, but he's also,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
I started to be
Yeah.
like, am I crazy that that's the kind of Reddit holes I've been looking into?
No, I think, you're trying to understand what kind of person could be around someone like this
Yeah,
24/7 because
yeah,
it's unbearable.
yeah.
It's
And
actually
even
unbearable.
well, her daughter was, with her this season, and that was nice to see, and like to Tamara's
Mm.
support of her and stuff, and like you could see their connection. So that I think that kind of makes you go, oh, like the mother in me is like, oh, that's beautiful.
Not me.
Not you. You're like, God
Nah.
damn it.
I think that poor kid, oh my God, imagine. I
Mm,
think it's also very telling that she has a child who refuses to have any contact with her
yeah,
and continues to this day to have no contact with her
yeah.
and has made it very clear to her mother from the beginning that if you didn't do the show, we would have a relationship. And she's
Mm,
chosen the show.
post the
And
show.
that tells you everything you need to know,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
I
So
just
true.
think,
So what's
yeah.
going to happen with the OC? Do you think they'll blow it up?
I think it needs a pause. I
Yeah,
can't believe I'm saying it. It's the 20th season next year. So maybe they push out one more. They bring back the
everyone.
OGs
Like
of the
for
OC.
have all different like things
Yeah.
going on.
Bring everyone back for the 20th and then let's take a little
Pause.
pause. A little Dorinda medley pause.
See, she
Yeah.
drove me absolutely bonkers. And then all these people want her back on New York. What about
Cuz
Salt
she's
Lake?
great TV. She's
Oh,
great
is
TV.
she? I'm like, I can't
She's a
deal.
messy drunk and she's angry and she's mean,
That's
but
what I mean.
she's quick-witted, she's funny.
Oh,
Did you watch The Ultimate Girls Trip with the OG
I think so.
New
I think,
York girls?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, and like I
Oh
do,
God, it was good.
yeah, it was good. And I do.
Yeah.
Like, there's definitely. It's not that I didn't like her, but she just got nasty in the
Yeah, she did. She got
me.
really
I was
nasty
kind of
towards
like,
the
we're
end.
watching someone without an alcoholic, like she's an alcoholic. Like that's what I felt like I was watching. That we were celebrating someone who had an
Yeah.
addiction, and that's what I think felt uncomfortable because I was like, she
Yeah.
doesn't know when to switch off. Like have two champagnes, like the little spice comes out in you, and
Yeah.
cool, but she just didn't know when to stop, and then she would get really, really horrible. That's what
Yeah.
I think I struggled with because I was kind of like, I feel like I'm playing into her, but she
Yeah.
still hasn't gone and got help and done anything. So, that's her
No.
journey.
It is, exactly. And maybe, she was breaking up with John Medesian
Yeah,
and, maybe it was just a very bad time.
breakup.
Maybe
Yeah,
she's a little bit more in control with the
yeah.
drinking now. I don't know. But I would love to find out. So
Let's
let's bring
find
him back,
out.
Andy.
Bring it
Bring
back.
him back.
Okay, so Salt
All
Lake.
right, Salt Lake. Oh, okay. I feel like first episode, I hated all that Blair Witch Project shit. I was like, just cut to the chase.
They're
Let's
really
get to the
trying
juice.
to make it a different,
Yes.
story, like how they've done it the last couple of seasons.
Yeah. But you know what? I feel like these girls don't need a gimmick. They are so quirky and campy and,
Yeah,
different to every other franchise. They don't need a shtick. They're
yeah,
great.
yeah,
We just need to let them go. Let them just be in a room and it
yes,
will all happen,
yeah. Okay, so I've
Um,
got a question for you. Do you
mhm.
think that Mary's been told? Because the first season she hated everyone and she would say things. Then when
Yeah.
she came back, she would keep herself separate, like she'd go be eating her macas and all that kind of stuff. But do you think that they've kind of produced her to hang out with the girls more and they've said, or she's realized like that she's got to? Because you can still tell she doesn't like them and she doesn't want to be there. And
Yeah.
she's hilarious. So you want. However, for me, I'm kind of like, it's a big turnaround. Like, what happened?
Yeah. I think probably her job was on the line. I think they probably said to her, listen, you look like you don't want to be here. You're acting like you don't want to be here. So if you don't want to be here, we're going to let you go. If you want to stay on the show, then you need to engage with these people and at least look like your friends. Pick one, choose one person to hang out with. So she did. And she and Angie are like hanging out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think she's believable as part of the group. I feel like they're all, and also, are we just skimming over the fact that she ran a complete scam of a church and ripped off every single one of them and demanded that they pay for all of her life, and then the church got shut down?
No, when did that happen?
That was like probably between she came onto the show as a pastor of her own church that she'd inherited from her grandmother after she married her step-grandfather. We also forgotten about that she's married her step-grandfather and had a child with him. But, you know, they were rolling in money, and then all these videos were coming out of her standing up in church and screaming at the community, demanding they hadn't given her enough money for her birthday, and she was so disappointed in them, and it was a complete scam. She was absolutely ripping everybody off and funding her life, and now it's been shut down, and we're just skating over all of that.
And so, yeah, that's what I was going to say. And then so what does she do to make her money now?
It's undisclosed, right? She's just there. It's really weird.
And this is why they're bringing out maybe her son's storyline. And so then they're not asking questions about the other stuff because she's a mother and she has handled that very well publicly.
She has. Yeah, I think so too.
You know, how the conversations and everything, how they've been. And I think how she, you know, we're only seeing a small snippet, so I don't really know, can't judge on the rest, but maybe that's why they've got like, because she is funny, and that's why people are like, I love her, but you're right, there's all this fucked up shit.
Totally. And we never see Robert Senior.
No, he doesn't obviously want anything to do with the show. Is he still alive?
Well, I think so, because she's talked about like Robert Senior, and I have talked about Robert Junior, and you know, but we don't see any part of her life other than this really intense situation with Robert Junior. And I did a solo episode talking about this a little bit, but in seeing a bit more now with him, I do wonder, you know, can he really consent to, you know,
I felt the same. Remember, I think I said that we did it on the live. I was like,
did we?
Yeah, I think I don't know about the consent thing, but I said like he was fucking off his head. Like, to me, I was just like, what the actual fuck? He's not functioning to maybe this last one because he's not as high as he was.
He was definitely high though.
Well, and that's what he said. But I was just kind of like, this is a lot for him because he's now becoming this face and all this when he's actually in it. It's not like not. So yeah, as much as I loved the realness, I was kind of thinking like, does he even know what the fuck's going on?
Yeah. Do we have to have a scene with him? Could the producers go afterwards? I don't know. We have a responsibility to protect him as well. Maybe we can just interview Mary and say, we had a scene we've had to cut because Robert admitted that he was high and not well again, and how are you coping and how are you managing that as a family? And it could still be effective and moving and important without exploiting someone who's not well.
Who's got a problem. And I just hope and I hope that what we're seeing with Mary, that he is really getting that support, because there was a part that I think she said that you've got to kind of let them go a little bit. And I was like, oh God, it would be so hard because as a parent because are you enabling them? Are you, you know, there's all of these things that you just kind of go, that's tough. What's going to happen with her then this season?
Well, I don't know. There's nothing much else going on for her. So, you know, is it just she's just kind of like hanging out in the background going like, what the fuck is with these weirdos? Or is there going to be something else? We need to, and I think people won't dive into her because of what's going on with her son. We're not going to go, hang on. So what are you doing for work now, Mary? We're talking about Lisa's 17 lawsuits, and we're talking about Whitney's failed business, and we're talking about, Meredith Marks's several things in new life as a DJ. But why are we not, finding anything out about you? But okay, that's fine.
And Jen being like the scam artist and did
Yes.
these people, and then Angie is saying that that's like Lisa's behavior. It's kind of just all.
Yeah. Like, hello, what about Mary?
Yeah.
Mary's literally right there, guys. We could ask her about the church. But yeah.
I think I saw part of the, look ahead at the season, and they're in a, she's leading some kind of room. And so I don't know so I think I saw that in the, when they do the trailer at the start. I feel like there's a snippet of her standing in front of the room leading as a pastor or whatever, So that'll be, I think, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Well, I just know that Heather McDonald from Juicy Scoop was in Salt Lake City last year, I think, and she took some pictures outside the church, and it was completely boarded up, shut down, defunct. So maybe they've gotten a new location.
New location.
Who knows? Yeah.
And maybe the rest of the housewives are funding her now.
Totally. Could be. Now, Bronwyn.
Yes.
Bronwyn Newport. So she admitted, embarrassingly, that she pretended to buy a $4 million necklace to try to be cool with the girls.
Yeah.
I like that she admitted that. I cringed so hard. But I still am worried about her relationship with her husband. We saw her sitting at brunch or whatever, some meal with him. And if you just pause and rewind a little section where they finish talking, she's talking about things not going well with Lisa. And he's like, I don't know why you let her get away with that or whatever it was. And then they finish the conversation. And the way she just looks when she's going back to her food, it's like a little child who's been scolded. She is holding so much in. She's so childlike in, she's got this nervousness about his approval still. And it is so uncomfortable because she comes across as so confident everywhere else. She seems to be herself in other relationships. This feels...
see, I don't know. I think I see all of that with everyone else as well. So I'm kind of now I know why she's like that with him, because she's with her mum and the way that her mum spoke to her.
Yeah.
And the way that what her mum was saying. And then when she tried to engage with Heather and on this emotional level, I could see what she was doing. But I don't know if they'd edited out the part where she was like, oh, Heather, I see you, but mine's a little bit differently. She's really good at repairing afterwards and processing and reflecting, and the emotional intelligence is there afterwards. But I don't know, in the moment, it's like this girl just wanting to be liked, and I feel like she's walking on eggshells with the girls, but she's trying, and then that's what she's doing with Todd. But for me, I was kind of he felt very he didn't want to be there, and not like he was last season, but kind of he was trying so hard not to be the person that he was.
Yes.
He's actually quite mute. And she was kind of, and so that's why I was like, is she just uncomfortable because he's just not going to really give you much?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I feel like she's constantly cowering,
Yeah,
it's like this...
but I feel like she's like that with the girls too, but then she wears outfits, and then when she does her things, but I think she's just someone who just desperately wants to be liked.
Yes.
And, she became a really young mum. She's kind of maybe finding herself now through this season of The Housewives, who the person she went in with, and so maybe that's why she did get the necklace, because she's like, okay, then I'll really show them that I'm it, because these women have done big things, which just seems so odd, because it's but again, when you're desperate to be liked, you do odd things.
So true. It was actually really sad, wasn't it?
Yeah, I do.
There's a lot of sadness.
Yeah, because she's funny, she's quick-witted, and then her daughter moving her son in because she doesn't really want her to leave yet. There's just so many things that she's I think she kind of what's the word I'm looking for? She not manipulated us, but tricked us all at the
Yeah.
first, like, because we're like, oh, she's confident, she's this.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's all a
Yeah.
mask.
Yes. Yes. And I think she's intimidated by what seems to be the easy confidence of some of those other girls, like Elisa, who
Yeah.
is unapologetically Lisa at all times, even when she's wrong, even when she's embarrassing. She's completely just Lisa all the time. And I think the others are, again, it's a bit like Miami. They're very clear characters.
Mm.
And maybe she came in feeling like she had to be one of those and
Yeah.
to play up with the big dogs, and
Yeah.
and I think you're right. There's when she, even with the vulnerability pieces, she's still missing the actual vulnerability,
Yeah, she misses it. But then afterwards, when she's
Yeah.
reflecting and she's actually being maybe authentic in like, hey,
Yes.
this is what I meant, you feel it, but you don't feel it the first time she delivers it.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
completely agree. I think she'll be really interesting to watch unfold, and I wonder what will happen with their relationship. I mean, her mum saying that she would be nowhere without Todd's money was
But
so
like that's
brutal.
but it's kind of true. Like in that,
Yes.
do you know what I mean? But like your mum doesn't have to deliver it like that. She could have.
No.
That's what but then if her mum's just a straight down the line and that's why she's attracted to someone like Todd, because that's what she's had in her whole life, like that's how people speak to her. Yeah, I don't know, there's something not right, but I can't stand Lisa. Fuck, I would happily see her go. Like she's
she's not going anywhere.
She is so hard to watch.
She is also looking, I think she looked so stressed in that last episode. So stressed. She was freaking out.
Well, she was so stressed she only wore one eye, got one eye. See that in the first episode? She
Terrible.
didn't have her eye because I kept thinking, what's wrong with her eye? And then I realized she'd only had one smoky eye and one of her lashes.
Yes.
How does that even
how does that happen? How does that happen? From the glam people to the producers. Everybody. How did nobody say anything?
But that's why she's so in her head, she didn't even realize.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, I wonder if we'll find out more. It's a very strange story that she's had another man paying for a lot of things to the tune of $500,000 or something. Like, yeah, so I think that will unfold. But I don't think she's going anywhere. I think she is a quintessential.
Yeah, look, there's kind of like she's a little bit like Guerdy. It's her delivery. Like there's a part of her that you see these little snippets and you're like, okay, yeah, I can see that. And then it's her delivery and you're like, ugh.
Yeah. I can see that for sure. Whitney admitting that her business failed, I thought was really great and vulnerable. And a couple of them could say, yeah, you have to fail in order to then succeed. So isn't there a saying like fail faster?
Yeah, fail forward. Like they say, it's like Stephen Bartlett, the number one podcast in the world, Diary of a CEO. Like that's the mindset. It's like fail forward, take risks. This is how most people are millionaires and most people is because they actually take the risks. Yeah. And that's what I liked about the moment with her husband. He was like, well, we both did it. Like I don't know. I know they've kind of advertised that there's trouble in paradise with them. However, I don't know if I always believe that. It's kind of like maybe that what they want that as a storyline, that it's hard for them. I just feel like they are a really solid team.
Yeah. I think it's because they started a bit badly. I think it was an affair that turned into a marriage. So that kind of puts them on the back foot.
Yeah, and I get it. Like money, obviously, if shit had happened, that would be quite stressful for them. However, I feel like they have the tools and the love. That's what I get from them, that they're really solid.
Yeah, yeah.
Compared to any of the rest.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, we haven't seen much of the partners of the others yet. We're only a couple of episodes in, but I think Angie and her husband are pretty strong, and I think Meredith and Seth, whatever we think is going on with Seth, I think they're pretty solid, But I think I would watch that show. Like, I'm excited every week when that comes around, whereas
Yeah.
it's completely different feeling to OC, which is very
Yes.
upsetting because that was obviously the beginning of all
The
of this for
thing.
me. Yeah.
Well, so they just need to rework the casting. Like whoever's
Yeah.
casting for Salt Lake City and the producers, they need to sit down with all of the rest of the franchises and have
Yeah.
like a checklist and be like, this is what we look for. This is how we
Yeah.
produce it now.
Yeah.
Like, so then there's kind of like a common theme.
Yes. Although I follow a casting page online and they are currently casting for Salt Lake City, looking for new housewives.
Oh,
So what's
who's
that about?
back?
I don't know. I'll send you the thing. But they are currently looking for
Well, I mean, we don't
new
know how
cast.
the end is going to be. Like,
No.
apparently, Angie and Mary fall out. That's what the trailer
Oh,
was alluding to.
yeah.
Um, I mean, Heather. Oh, yeah, she's just definitely one that came on really. I think the world loved her the
Yeah.
first season, and then now it's just kind of like
Oh, now we're stuck with her.
I don't know. There's just something about her that I can't like.
Mm,
It can't pinpoint it. I think it's the inauthenticity of
yeah.
friendship. How she's being with Lisa now, and she's like,
Yeah.
yeah, like there's just she's so inauthentic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's just really hard to watch.
Yeah. I think it seems to be that theme of when you want to be liked by everybody, not being able to genuinely be yourself, and then
Mm,
that just not translating on the show
on the show.
well,
Yeah,
and we're like, oh, I'm not
yeah,
connecting with you in a real way
yeah,
because I
yeah,
don't know what I'm getting. So it's the Julia,
yeah,
it's, Bronwyn,
yeah,
it's Whitney, I
yeah.
mean,
Heather.
Heather.
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely a theme. I completely agree that's a missing connection piece for
Mm,
me for those people.
yeah.
But I feel like it's going to be a good season.
It always is a good season.
It is. I love it.
I'm like, oh, what's next?
I know. I wish we could get 2 episodes a week, honestly. It's good stuff. It's good
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, that's why
And
I
I'm
watch the after show now and watch what happens live.
because then you get even more. Doesn't have to end.
It doesn't have to end, but then you get their like perspectives, and I'm like, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
this is good. Yeah.
Yeah. I think those after shows, some of them are better than the actual show itself,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Um, it started kind of with the Valley, really. There was
It
a
did
lot of
with the Valley, and then
yeah.
all of a sudden they all started pumping them out, but like halfway through, like that's why I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, it was like halfway through. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. And then there was one of the other shows they stopped. It was Summer House. They had an after show going and then they stopped.
Oh.
Yeah. And I think there was a conversation that maybe it was something to do with they were all going hard. They picked the wrong side. I can't remember who it was now. I've gone completely blank.
Oh, like with Jesse and that girl.
Oh, Lexi, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yes. So they were all going hard and apparently like all of the after show stuff was them, saying potentially bad stuff about Lexi and the audience was like, "Oh, actually it's Jesse that's the problem here." And so that could have been one of the reasons they canned the show, but
Oh,
I don't know. It seems a bit
interesting.
weird. That was the
And
chatter.
okay, so before we finish up, is Paige coming back to Summer House? I've read that.
No, she's not.
No.
No. Nope.
And is
Nope.
Lindsay?
Lindsay's there, but she's
Yeah.
only doing weekends here and there, I think. And there's a spin-off
Is there?
in the city. So it's going to be Lindsay, Kyle and Amanda, amazingly stunning Italian model Andrea and his new wife Lexi.
Oh. So
Who
like
else?
the Valley, like they've done with the Valley.
Yes. And so
I
following
thought
them
Paige
in
would be in that.
No, she's not. So done with reality TV for now apparently.
Oh.
I wouldn't know that personally because I'm still blocked by Paige.
Why?
But I have no idea. I am blocked by Paige DeSorbo and I just don't know why.
That is so strange.
I
Why did
must have
she
made a
block you?
comment somewhere. I don't know.
And she's
I
like,
don't know
really?
why.
What a little cunty.
She's the least of my concerns, to be honest. Like, I've got way bigger fish to fry that are way more problematic than Paige. I don't know why I would have said something so offensive that she needs to block me.
She might have just been having a day. She could have been having her period and been like, this bitch.
Listen, I can totally relate, but, come on, Paige. Maybe I'll see her at BravoCon.
That's what I was going to say. And then can you be like, can you
patch things up?
And then get her on the pod and be like, oh, girl.
Yes. Please explain.
Please explain.
The listeners would like to know why you blocked me and, where did it start? I don't know. I might have made a comment about her clothes looking like they come from Shein, but maybe that.
Well, how would you know if you don't shop at Shein?
The ads come up on Instagram. Heidi, come on.
Well, I feel like we've gone through a lot of seasons today. I'll happily come back. It felt good.
Please.
I haven't had to debrief this with for a while, so
yes.
it felt really good.
We need you back, Hides. It's just it feels so good. And to do this with an Australian, like, as much as I adore the American podcasters that I have the privilege of doing this with, there's just something special about doing it with you, my love. So please come back.
I will, 100%. And hopefully people will get through our 90 minutes of reality trash talking.
Yes. If you have listened this far, okay, let's put a code word in and let's send them a book.
Okay, so the code word is trash.
Okay, trash. So DM Heidi or me and send us the word trash, and we'll send you a copy of both of our books.
What if we get hundreds of people? We'll just be giving out hundreds of books. The first 5 of you.
The first 5. Okay.
Trash, 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 trash.
Love it. Look, there's the stack. I will sign one.
Yay. I've got actually no copies left. I've got to order some more. This is my one. This is my mock-up one that I use.
Nice.
But, actually, I sent that to Chrissy Swan, and then I wrote the wrong message in it. And because I spelled her name wrong. And then so I put it to Becky, and then Becky didn't collect it. And then I'm like...
Oh, no.
Anyway, we'll buy some more.
We'll get some more. Trash, hit us up. Trash. First 5 people, we will send you a copy. Heidi, where can they find you? How can they work with you?
Just follow me at _ Heidi Anderson. I'm contemplating changing that, but for now it's at _ Heidi Anderson. And slide into my DMs. Let's do it.
Amazing. Well, thank you, my love. This has been a blast. I love you. I will talk to you soon. Yay. Bye.